Today, we got two very powerful, yet at the same time kinda underrated heroes going head to head. Firestorm versus Nova Prime. Who wins? Well, let's find out. Originally a composite being, Firestorm had power over fire and heat, and could alter the atomic structure of objects. As of the New 52, multiple Firestorms exist, and Ronnie and Jason act as individual Firestorms, and can combine to create Fury, a giant walking nuclear reactor. However, in this fight, we'll be treating Firestorm as a composite being, meaning that we're looking at Firestorm as more of a concept instead of one particular host. Firestorm's main power is to be able to rearrange the molecular structure of matter, manipulating subatomic particles to create objects of different atomic characteristics of equal mass. He's turned armor into a giant diaper, a stone pillar into water, rubble into pillows, a gun into a cucumber, and that's just a small sampling of what he's done. Firestorm's also created a kryptonite cage out of pure air, trapped foes in amber, and creates a shield to block attacks. He's also able to manipulate and change his own density, as he's made himself light enough to lay on a cloud, easily phase through walls. He's also phased through bullets and other attacks without being injured. Firestorm is also able to fire powerful nuclear blasts and manipulate radioactive fire. These blasts can destroy skyscrapers, incinerate Swamp Thing when he was the size of Tokyo, blast back and one-shots Captain Atom, hurts Orion, and seemingly took out Black Adam and the Royal Flush Gang in one explosion. Firestorm can also absorb and manipulate energy, creating electromagnetic fields and energy cages, as well as absorbing the radiation from a nuclear blast, controlling and absorbing a wormhole, and he lowered the temperature of Killer Frost to absolute zero while she's inside the sun. Finally, Firestorm can also turn his powers inward and change himself at will, boosting his immune system, surviving indefinitely without food, water, or even air, regenerate lost and damaged tissue, and he can even shapeshift. He's strong enough to hurt Orion and Calabac, and is fast enough to keep up with Superman, land attacks on Bart Allen, and fly from the Earth to the Moon in a very short amount of time. Then Firestorm is surprisingly durable, having survived several nuclear bombs, being inside the sun, hits from Calabac and Omac, and attacks that actually hurt Green Lantern and Flash. At the end of the day, it's been said that Firestorm is literally the Big Bang, and has the power to wipe out the entire universe. Then, in the other corner of Nova Prime, Richard Rider was a young teenager when he was granted the power of a Nova Centurion. He would have many adventures, both on his own and with his peers among the New Warriors. Richard even became a member of the Avengers ever so briefly. He eventually became Nova Prime, leader of the Nova Corps, where he established himself as a universally cosmic hero of immense power. Nova derives his powers from a source called the Nova Force, which is wielded by all members of the Nova Corps. However, after the events of Annihilation, every member of the Nova Corps were killed, except for Rider himself. This led to Nova absorbing the entire Nova Force, thus increasing his power on a drastic scale. He can now lift over 10,000 tons effortlessly, and is durable enough to take attacks from Blastar, and all of the Thunderbolts, and even briefly survive inside of a neutron star. Rider is even able to survive being inside the energy storage reservoir of Galactus' ship, which contains all the energy of Galactus' destroyed and absorbed worlds. Nova's energy manipulating and absorbing powers have been significantly increased as well, to the point where he's nearly on par with Silver Surfer. He lobotomized Ego with a single blast, defeated the Revengers all by himself with one attack, and killed a continental level threat with a freaking finger gun. The Nova Force also allows Richard to create force fields that are strong enough to withstand blasts from Galactus, and this blast was able to destroy nearby planets, and even took out most of the Annihilation Wave. He's also able to achieve beyond light speed while he's flying, cross entire star clusters in seconds, and is even able to open up stargates, which pierce through the fabric of space and time in order to collapse distances. These stargates can also be used offensively in a fight, as the gravity surrounding a stargate is vastly different and much stronger, to the point where stargates actually cause several Kree sentries to be crushed within it. Nova Prime can also manipulate gravity outright, forming grav bubbles, trapping enemies in a gravity field, or producing omnidirectional blast to push back and even just obliterate enemies. Finally, Nova is also connected to the World Mind, which not only helps to shield his mind from psychic attacks, but it also gives him access to all the information the Nova Corps have collected within the known galaxy. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, right out of the gate, it might appear that Nova Prime has a physical advantage in this fight, and could overpower Firestorm very easily. I mean, the guys fought against Thor and Gladiator. Firestorm shouldn't really be too much of a problem for Ryder to overpower. However, that's just not the case. Firestorm is secretly really physically powerful. Like, he's definitely typically more of a ranged fighter, but he can be quite dominant in hand-to-hand as well. Like, Firestorm's actually fought against and traded blows with an amped Calibac for multiple pages, and even eventually defeated Calibac with an energy blast. And while Calibac has occasionally been seen as a bit of a jobber, he has given multiple good fights to Superman, and even knocked out Orion with one punch, who's arguably stronger than Superman, and at least on the same level. Nova Prime is probably stronger just on average, but Firestorm can definitely put up a fight. Now, Nova Prime is definitely faster than Firestorm, especially in terms of traveling speed and unleashing speed blitzes or things like that. Firestorm just doesn't have enough impressive speed feats to justify hanging with Nova Prime in that area. And Ryder isn't just fast in terms of getting from point A to point B. He has true super speed, and is able to easily dodge attacks or things like that. However, Firestorm actually has an impressive reaction time as well. And Firestorm doesn't just have to dodge attacks, but he can create shields, teleport, or turn intangible in order to avoid Nova Prime's attacks. He's even dodged attacks from Dr. Light, who manipulates light, and his attacks obviously move at light speed, so that's really impressive. However, Nova Prime is still faster, as before he was even Nova Prime, just a regular member of the Nova Corps, he was fast enough to fly from the Earth to the Sun in the time it took him to finish a sentence, which is much faster than the speed of light. After all, it takes light about 8 minutes to travel from the Sun to the Earth, and Nova flew that in a few seconds. However, Nova Prime has been tagged by people who are slower than Firestorm, and Ryder also rarely uses fast and light speed attacks at the beginning of a fight, especially against someone that he doesn't know, so I don't believe that speed alone will carry Nova Prime to an easy victory. Plus, this fight has two different aspects: hand-to-hand or close combat, and then from a range. And Firestorm absolutely dominates from a range. Now, you might be saying, well, Nova Prime has some range attacks as well, So couldn't he handle his own Firestorm on that level as well? Well, let's talk about that. So Ryder has his Energy Blast, and it's been said that these blasts are nearly on par with Silver Surfer. I'm not quite sure if they're that powerful, but he has the lobotomized ego, and defeated the Cancerverse Avengers with one blast, so they're definitely a lot to handle. However, Firestorm is more than equipped to handle them, because he doesn't actually have to contend with them at all. He can just easily transmute them, or turn them into something else. He's shown no problem transforming energy blasts into bubbles or flowers. He's even transformed them into a road before. He's also controlled and manipulated Darkseid's Omega beams. So it's clear that there aren't some energy blasts that are too powerful for Firestorm to control. He can also simply turn intangible, let the energy blast pass right through him, or absorb them into himself. Finally, he's tanked blasts that put down Captain Atom. So even if all else fails, it won't be easy to put Firestorm down. And then Firestorm has a massive advantage on his side. Transmutation. Not only can it transmute Nova Prime's attacks, but since we're using the composite version of the character, that means that Firestorm can actually transmute Nova Prime himself. After all, Firestorm has transformed enemies into sand or into water, and Ryder really has no hard counter for this. Firestorm can also manipulate even just the air around Nova, as he's trapped Orion in a metal box, and there was nothing Orion could do but just sit there. So let's sum this up. Nova Prime has got the physical advantage, being both stronger and faster than Firestorm. But Firestorm can go intangible, so Nova can't affect him. And he's also taken hits on people like Calibac and Orion. On the other hand, Firestorm completely negates Nova Prime's energy attacks, as he can transmute them, control them himself and redirect them, block them, turn intangible, or just absorb them. Then, on top of that, Nova Prime has no direct counter for Firestorm's transmutation and intangibility. And he can even trap Nova in a dimension called the Firestorm Matrix, which leads to an easy victory. The Firestorm Matrix is sort of like an alternate dimension, where Firestorm draws his powers, and he is essentially a deity in this realm. There's also nothing that Nova can do about this, as both Martian Manhunter and Supergirl were trapped in this realm at the same time and couldn't bust out. Basically, Firestorm is just too versatile and too powerful for Nova Prime to win this one. Firestorm wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos just one every single weekday. And I'll see you next time.